This is an incoming transmission from the Jersey Shore.
This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, powered by McLean Advisory Group. Today you'll hear some of the most important financial information and wealth-building techniques available anywhere.
Let's get this party started, huh?
Do you have a question for Scott and the team?
Am I on the air?
609-488-4646. That's 609-488-4646.
We'll get that information to them by radio.
Now, Financial Insanity with Scott McLean.
Thank you for joining us for another installment of Financial Insanity. I have with me, as always, the ultimate master of finance, well over 43 years experience, but still with that youthful energy, Scott McLean, right here in Waretown, New Jersey. Remember,
hello, Sonny.
There he is. Remember, if you hear something today and it resonates with you, or you just want to call Scott because he sounds like a good time, the number 609-488-4646, 609-488-4646. Now, Scott, obviously accomplished author, outstanding radio host as well, but you're also a financial advisor, and you have a knack of breaking down these complex financial concepts, make them simple, digestible information for folks. Today, you're going to take us through the world of annuities. Where to begin, my friend?
You know, annuities, Alex, I think it'd make your head spin faster than a roulette wheel. But let's not fear. For those of you listening, annuities, there's a good, bad, and the ugly. I want to explain the difference between the four types of annuities, because people get upset. They're saying, I don't want an annuity. Well, you just might want one. But I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm here to educate you, because I can tell you, if you go to a salesman, they're going to want money from you, and they're going to probably sell you the highest paying commission out there. So be careful, Alex. That's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, like you said, there are four types. And, some people are going to say, all annuities are bad. Well, like most things, that's not obviously going to be true. But where does it start? What are the differences? And why are some considered good, considered bad? Or is that even fair to say?
It's a good start. I think you'll determine what's good or bad for yourself if you're out there. But I'm going to try to break it down real simple. You think about really the first type of annuity out there, which starts the realm of do you like it or not? I think about it. It's almost like, what's that movie, Forrest Gump? It's like a box of chocolates. I mean, you never know what you're going to get. And when you think about it, the variable annuities, really you invest the money into the stock market. They call that sub-accounts, like mutual funds. And the value of the mutual fund can go up and down, or the annuity can go up and down. The value of the account can go up and down. But when the salesman gets there, he'll say, well, we've got a guaranteed 6% annuity. Whether the market goes up or goes down, you're going to get guaranteed 6%. And the crowd roars. That's right. But the problem with this crowd roaring, you think you're avoiding losses, but the cash value is subject to losses. But the 6% could be the income rider. And like a box of chocolates, listening to you guys, you may take the wrong piece out and break your teeth on fees and expenses. So this could really cause the dentist to pull a few of your cavities and teeth out, because you could lose a lot of money on fees and expenses. I've seen them, Alex, as high as 4 to 4.25%. Imagine, Alex, you give me $300,000, we invest it. You would think you're getting 6% on the annuity, but you're getting it on the income rider. We'll go in that more in depth. But again, we think about it. Meanwhile, you put in the money. What's 4% times 300,000? It could be over a $12,000 in fees. And many times the advisor never tells you, but they could say to you, well, I mentioned that, but it's in the contract. Didn't you read it? So I call it it's deceptive. We don't want to say deceptive. We don't want to say that your advisor is deceptive. I don't want to be mean to any advisors out there,
Sure.
But I can make it very clear when people come and meet with us and get a second opinion. And if you have that, I'd love you to do that. But when you get that second opinion, there are hidden 4 to 5 individual fees that could really crank up your wallet and not get the return you're expecting, Alex. And if you're out there, by the way, I want to help you at no cost, no obligation. Please feel free to give our studios a call, Alex. I want them to give us a call because I'd surely hate you to come to a radio show. You're listening, you just turned us on, and you say, what's this fees? What's the expenses? 609-488-4646. Again, 609-488-4646. I'd love to take your call off the air. I'll try to do my best to answer any questions. I've done this business for many, many years, as Alex mentioned, and I'm not going to try to spin you into making a sale. That's not my goal. Frankly, you could have your grandkids tweet out to your friends, Scott lied. He's trying to sell me. No, I don't want that. I want you to tweet out to your friends or go on the Facebook or Instagram or whatever it is and say, I got great information from Scott. That's why we called him at 609-488-4646. Alex,
Yeah.
variable annuities. It's a very, very intrinsic, very different type of annuity out there that many people get confused about. And it sounds like wonderful, wonderful loaf of bread that could have some major mold in it.
And you left out TikTok there as you're rambling off
that's right.
the different social media being used by the kids today. You got to remember that TikTok. Come on.
That's right. Tickety tock.
609-488-4646 is the number. We're talking about annuities today on Financial Insanity with Scott McLean. 609-488-4646. All right, so we talked about the variable annuity. What is next, Scott?
Let's go to the Domino's Pizza.
Okay.
Immediate annuity. It's an immediate annuity. Like ordering a pizza, you pay for a lump sum up front, and in return, you're getting a fixed monthly payment. Now, by the way, we have a few clients, not many, that have this. It's just right for a very few people. And this is the second type of annuity that what gives an annuity a bad name. Let me give you an example. I'm Alex, you and your beautiful sweetie pie, you go to retire. Here you are, 65, 70 years old, and you buy an immediate annuity. You give the company a check for, let's say, $200,000, and you're going to get a check for the rest of your life, let's say $800 a month. By the way, this is an example. Now, you're getting that check for $800 a month. It's an annuity, and you are going to get that for the rest of your life. And you've got a long lifespan. God has blessed you and your family.
I'm going to live forever.
You're going to live forever.
Yep.
And so you bought this vehicle, and you're getting that $800 for the rest of your life. You and your wife are tickled pink. You're happy as a pig in a barrel. I can tell you're excited, but what happens? All of a sudden, you're going down the road. Bang. God takes you home. You get in a car accident. Unforeseen. Maybe you've got a health problem. Something happened and you passed away. Well, on many of these immediate annuities, depending what clause you have, this is the gobbledygook, that $800 is completely gone. But here's the worst case. All the money that you put into the immediate annuity, that's gone as well. Now, there's several types of immediate annuities. This is why, if you have an immediate annuity, please do yourself a favor right now. Right now, y'all listen to me. Listen, write this down. 609-488-4646. If you have this vehicle or not sure if you do, I'd encourage you to give us a call off the air to say, Scott, I need your help. I'm not sure what kind of annuity I have. Now, again, this could be a good annuity for very few people, but not for everybody. Because what happens is maybe you want to leave some money to the loved ones. This is not the right annuity for you. But if maybe you're the only one out there and you have no other people, well, maybe you go ahead and just buy the immediate annuity and get a check for the rest of your life and you pass away. Well, you know, if you have no heirs to pass on to, this could be a good tool. Alex, this is an immediate annuity.
I love it. All right, we immediately need to move on to the next one. We only have a few minutes left. We got to go through the next two, Scott. We want to give them the time that they deserve. So,
fixed annuity.
Yes, the
fixed
one
annuity,
similar to CDs, right? But higher return.
And they smell and look like a CD, but they grow tax deferred. This is the simplest of all simple annuities. Very simple.
I like simple.
You put in, Alex, you put in $100,000. I think the highest rate I've seen lately in the state of New Jersey, 5-6% guaranteed, and they pay you the interest out every month, or you can let it compound, tax deferred, no tax on the money. So if you got money taking a nap, this could be a great tool for those of us scared of the stock market, don't want to take any participate in the stock market, want to make some nice, steady, I call it turtle money. It's slow and steady that will win the race. And let's say you're getting 5%. You put $100,000 in, you know for certainty you're getting the $5,000. But wait, my friends, there's more. You could be having to making sure that it is a solid company. And we like to use a Comdex rating and the Weiss ratings, another type of rating service to make sure the insurance company is solid. So this is a fixed annuity. Very simple, smells and looks like a CD, but has a lot of wonderful benefits and higher returns than most all CDs. Now, the next one, Alex, is a little bit different.
Yep. And before we get to that one real quickly, remember, if you have any questions about annuities, anything else, 609-488-4646 is the number, 609-488-4646 at aid.com for the website. Scott, take us home. What's the final one?
The last one is called an indexed annuity. I mean, if you look at a book of Susie Orman called The Road to Wealth, she said she doesn't like annuities at all, but she did say, I like this one kind of annuity because it kind of competes with mutual funds in the mid-90s. A indexed annuity can index with the stock market, and it has good and bad and ugly. It has what's called cap rates. Now, listen, guys, it's not for all your money, although it is a very dynamic type of product. See, if it has a cap rate of 10, if the stock market goes up 5, you get 5. If the stock market, the S&P 500 goes up 7, you get 7% for the year. If the stock market goes up 10, you get 10. If the stock market goes up to 20, what do you think you get? Well, you get 10. You get upset, but you get 10. But the beauty in this, if the stock market starts to drop, you lose nothing. And all of the index annuities have no fees. But be careful, some do. This is why when you speak to your advisor, or you'd like to give us a call at our office and say, Scott, I need some questions, 609-488-4646. This is a great tool, but not for all of your money. A great tool that can compete with the stock market. It's kind of in there, but you don't want the risk. You want faster than the turtle, the fixed annuity, but you kind of want to have a little bit of a jet engine inside of it. This could be a great tool called the indexed annuity. Again, it's not for all your money, where a lot of guys and girls are out there. The advisor want to push it. Yeah. This is not for all your money.
Well, and Scott, as we have just a minute left here, so final thought as we end the segment, I want you to hit on is just the fact that obviously your firm does a lot with taxes. What to consider when it comes to that with annuities? What's the tax consideration just to think about?
The beautiful tax consideration, like I was talking about, all the annuities, if you're not pulling money out, it's not taxed. If you're taking the requirement of distribution, it's like taking from the IRA. You'll have to pay the ordinary income. The nice thing about annuities, if you've got a lot of money, you want to pass it on to your kids, and maybe you say, you know what, I want to grow it like a turtle, steady, fixed annuity or index annuity, it grows tax deferred. In other words, you're not paying tax on the gains. You'll pay tax one time, but the question is, when do you need the money? So again, this is why the advisor, while we look at the tax returns in light of the investments, no matter what investments they are, to make a sound, solid, strategic decision for your money, so you can put your head on your pillow, can sleep well at night, knowing that your money is covered by a nice, strong insurance company, and you don't want to take the left hooks that are in the stock market. This could be a great tool. 4 tools: variable annuity. Second tool, immediate annuity. Third tool, fixed annuity. Fourth tool is index annuity. They could be good for you. By the way, I'm not saying to sell the annuities, but this is a good time to have a good discussion, maybe a second or third opinion. 609-488-4646. No cost, no obligation. I'd love to help educate you on making the right decision with your money.
Thank you, Scott. More financial insanity coming up on the other side. Don't go anywhere.
Hi, this is Bonnie from McLean Advisory Group, wishing you comfort, hope, and joy. Happy holidays. Thanks for listening.
Who likes uncertainty? Wall Street certainly does not. With near record inflation and partisan politics, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. What will America's future look like? What will your future look like? Will your taxes go up? Will your savings go down? For more than 40 years here in the Jersey Shore area, Scott McLean and the team at McLean Advisory Group have seen uncertainty come and go. No matter what the future holds, Scott can help you create a plan designed to preserve your finances in uncertain times. And it's not a matter of if those uncertain times will show up, but when. Call 609-488-4646 now to meet with Scott McLean and the team at McLean Advisory Group. If uncertainty is causing you to feel insecure, Scott McLean might be able to help. Call 609-488-4646 and schedule your visit today. Again, that's 609-488-4646. Investment advice is offered through Bell Point Asset Management, LLC. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Thousands of baby boomers retire every day. And by 2030, they're all going to be 65 years old. And if baby boomers are up to bat for retirement, that means Generation X is on deck. Financial Insanity. I'm Alex Dingman along with Scott McLean. If you hear something today, raises some questions, 609-488-4646 is the number, 609-488-4646. And Scott, we're going to talk about Gen X here in just a moment, but 10,000 boomers turning 65 each and every day. And when you have that many people leaving the workforce, it's going to be some potential impact on the economy, I would think, Scott.
Huge impact leaving the economy. And of course, that's why you want to have more kids. So we have people to pay for these Social Security benefits. What is it? For every retiree getting Social Security, we're going to have a problem that yet 1 equals 1. Could we get to that denomination for every person that retires? You could have one person to pay for that. That's a big problem. And it used to be a 20-1 many years ago. So it's going to be a big impact, people leaving. I find this funny. I think it's real funny. I remember when I was a young little rat a couple of years ago, when my dad was around, and a brilliant man. And he says, son, as you build your companies out, and we've had a couple companies. I've done a lot of real estate. I've bought a lot of real estate properties, built a development in a place called Tom's River, New Jersey on Todd Road. You'll see McLean Court, Winston Court, we just had fun while I was running the business. And he says, son, when you get older, just remember, look at the older person. They've got a lot of wisdom. Don't fire an older person if they've got a lot of wisdom, insight. That was really helpful to me now that I'm the older guy. Luckily, I have my own business. They can't fire me because I'm ugly. But the neatest thing is, I think we have a lot of people that are getting out of the business. We have a lot of older people staying in the business. But imagine them leaving, and now you bring in a young stud or studette in the industry, and they don't have the wisdom. They have the drive. They have the energy. But that could, of course, cause a problem called quality control. Cause a problem called excessive work or excessive time. Maybe people are spending time looking at their phones versus looking at the work. You've got these young studs and studettes. They think they know everything, but they have some older person like myself helping educate them, like I do with George, who's been with me for many, many years, a brilliant financial planner and financial advisor. And he's listening to me and taking that in. I hope those young people out now are doing that as the old people are leaving, the baby boomers are leaving. This is going to cause a rumble in the market. Remember, the old folks like myself, we have the majority of money, and the younger folks want it. And the question is, how will it last? Are they getting the financial education they need to make their money last? And I think that's really important, Alex. Are they getting that education? What do they do with their money, and how do they handle it? And I don't know if mom and dad's really talking to them because there's no financial classes in school that are doing it.
Well, sure. And, one thing that everybody wants is to leave a legacy. And one legacy could be financial support for, generations behind you. And one area where you Gen Xers could, learn something from boomers is getting started early. And so you have these Gen Xers right now, maybe they're in their mid-50s, still 10 to 15 years from retirement, but that doesn't mean they should just be sitting back and wait. They've been hearing about retirement. They've been thinking, oh, that's my dad. That's my mom. That's the baby boomers. No, that's now you almost. And so now's the time for those folks to really be thinking about it, if not even before now.
Now, Alex, you're a lot younger than I am, but I think what's so funny, nothing has changed. You think about when you're a little kid and Christmas was coming, for those who celebrate Christmas, and you look in the countdown, and here it is, July 2000, and all of a sudden you're about to have Christmas. You're a young little whippersnapper, and July to December 25th is so far away. But us older folks are thinking it's right around the corner.
Yep.
And you think about almost retirement. It's almost the same thing. It's right around the corner. So I'd like to give those of you a quick heads up on math. Let me give you a quick math. If you have grandkids or kids, I call it 10% rule. I call it the 10% rule. I have said this several times on my shows. I know, Alex, you've brought it up many, many times. When you talk about the 10% rule, what does that mean, Scotty? Well, here's what it means, y'all. You ready? Brainwash your grandkids. Brainwash your children to save 10% every paycheck till retirement. I can tell you that's probably the best brainwashing you could ever do. Why? Because it works with compound interest, dollar cost averaging. Compound interest, dollar cost averaging, the rule of 10% in retirement for savings for retirement. So if my paycheck, and I'm delivering newspapers, you grandkids out there, please tell your grandparents, hey, if you made, do they deliver newspapers, Alex? I don't know if they do that anymore.
I don't think so, my man. That's there might be a few towns that still do it, but
well, I'm just thinking, if you're making $10 delivering newspapers or mowing the yard for $25, $2.50. Now, getting your kid to save $2.50, I talk about that in my introduction to my book. That's $2.50. I guarantee they start getting brainwashed. It's going to become a habit. And that muscle memory, that habit can stay with them. And they will be very, 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 very secure at retirement. Dollar cost averaging 10%. Now, if you're older and you're heading into retirement, maybe it's a higher number, and so that's why you want to give me a call. Scott, am I on target? Will I have enough for the money to last? 609-488-4646. Scott, I need to ask you a question. Let's get together off the air, no cost, no obligation. I promise you, I will not try to say anything, but I can tell you, let's find out if you're on target or off target. There's nothing worse than, as you mentioned in the beginning of this segment, Alex, that many people are afraid to ask questions. Why? Because they're going to get sold. Why are they asking questions? Because they're embarrassed. Why? Because they feel they should know, but they don't know. This is why do you go to professionals for guidance? And that's why I have in my workshop and all my education, when people meet with us, hide your checkbook, hide your wallet. You can't do business with me. Let's get to know each other. And then we can decide if it's a good fit for you or for my firm. Because not knowing that's the biggest pain, which is called change. Am I willing to change my habits? Then once you change your habits, the biggest problem, listen to me, this is you listening, is called procrastination. You keep putting it off, but you didn't call McLean Advisory Group or an advisor. You didn't give a call at 609-488-4646. I got to put a plug, but you didn't call us to get some information, no cost, but you didn't find out the information you need to know to your circumstance, whether you're having a great marriage and it's maybe your child gets sick. Maybe you're about to get remarried. What kind of trust should you have? How do I protect my assets for my children, even though I'm getting remarried? How do I take care of my lovely spouse in case their lights go dim? How do I make sure my money's in a good position because the market's so volatile? These are questions people are afraid to ask because they're afraid to get sold. And then you end up putting it off for procrastination and doing nothing. There's nothing worse than sticking your head in the sand, because what happens? Your vitals are exposed like an ostrich looking at their egg. This is a challenge, I find, Alex.
609-488-4646 is the number for Scott and his team. 609-488-4646. 10,000 boomers turning 65 each and every day. But Gen X coming right behind them, getting ready here pretty soon. And One question I have here, Scott, can Gen X count on Social Security for their retirement?
They can really count on it, but the question is, will they be able to count on it? I mean, right now, the way the deficit's going, could they be using money from the Social Security coffers? We already know that the number comes down. Every time I do an educational workshop on Social Security, it comes down. So now the question is, could there be a 20% drop by 2033? That's right around the corner, 10 years from now, as we do our show today in 2023. So if you're listening this in 2024, okay, it's 9 years, but the question is going to be, can I take a haircut? Or am I saving enough outside of Social Security? Alex, is the real question, because if you want to live on Social Security, and many people can, but maybe they're living with their children. Maybe they're living with their sugar daddy or sugar mama. I don't know. But
That's
the
my
question
plan.
is, can you live on it? I mean, I don't know, but I want to make sure that I'm buttoned up nice and safe. I don't want to be a drain on my children.
Of course.
But maybe it's not a drain. Maybe it's maybe I'm just living at their house, which is, I've had several conversations. Should I buy a house, Scott, that's a duplex? Maybe. I don't know. But the question is, how long will your money last if the market drops 30%? If the stock market drops 30% like it did in 2008, when it was a 56% drop in 1 year, how are you going to sleep at night? This is why people are calling us often, Alex.
Yeah, I think that's wise, and
It's real.
And obviously, it's smart to get started early. And we're talking about Gen Xers, but Scott, final question here. This segment, maybe when you're even in your 40s, you still have some time, but what should you be thinking about at that point? And is that too early to get with a financial advisor like yourself?
I think people should get a financial advisor when they're a lot younger. And then if they're 40s, yes, I think it's not even an issue. I don't shop somebody out. I don't care. 2 or 3 appointments. Find different people. Find someone that you can mesh with. Find someone who's not going to look at you as a dollar sign, but they're looking at as they want to help you sign. This is how you shop. And I've got a whole white paper on that, Alex. People can get their hands on it. How do you look for a financial advisor? How do you mesh, and what questions should you ask? Really important, because putting it off, it just causes a bigger problem.
609-488-4646 is the number. 609-488-4646. Just add a .com for the website. And like Scott mentioned earlier, you can go to the site there and send in your own questions, which is just so important, Scott, because that's what we're going to talk about on the show. Is we wouldn't be talking about stuff if people weren't worried about it. They didn't have concerns. They didn't have questions. And so getting those to us is just so important, because we want to try to answer.
I'd love to help the people. Put your questions down. Go to our website. Give us a shout out. I think that's critical.
Heck yeah. All right. Well, Gen Xers, not quite retiring in droves just yet, but definitely need to start thinking about it, getting their head into the game. We're going to talk about more of that coming up. This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean.
It's nice when you get everything on your list in one place, isn't it? Scott McLean from McLean Advisor Group agrees. That's why he offers comprehensive retirement planning all under one roof. You shouldn't have to go one place for tax planning, another for estate planning, and another for retirement income planning. That's why McLean Advisory Group was started. Scott wanted to build a company that could help families with all aspects of their retirement planning. McLean Advisory Group is more than just convenient. They're knowledgeable and experienced. And for answers for your questions, you can set up a meeting with Scott and his team to talk about your retirement. 609-488-4646. That's 609-488-4646. Use the same number to reach the team online. 609-488-4646.com. Investment advisory services are offered through Bell Point Asset Management, LLC. Firm offers insurance services but does not provide tax or legal advice.
I'm on the fence about a real tree. I've done the real tree. When you have that fake one that's in 3 different pieces, you just bust it out every year and you take a second and it's already got the lights attached to plug it in and boom.
I do like the smell. I do like the smell of those Christmas trees.
Yeah, but you can get that smell, in different ways. But anyway.
We made it back. This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, presented by McLean Advisory Group.
Gen Xers not retiring in droves just yet, but they are worried about how to get ready for retirement. You have these folks in their 40s, their 50s, and so, still around 10, 15 years maybe from retirement, Scott. We're talking about these folks today and how they can get prepared. If you have questions, the number 609-488-4646, 609-488-4646. And so, Scott, for those folks that maybe still have another 10 years until they retire, what should they be really prioritizing in terms of their savings at this point?
Wants versus needs. Wants versus needs. A lot of time you want to get that fancy car, but then you're thinking, is my savings, do I have enough for retirement? You're not going to think about that when you're driving that nice new, smelling car, brand new leather seats, or that boat. And you think about, how much am I saving? How much am I putting away? This is wants versus needs. We all know this. We've all heard it. This is nothing new. You don't have to go get the degrees I have to get that, but it's very, very basics. And you think about the very basic is number one. If you're saving enough money in savings, emergency fund, as well as saving enough money for retirement, do you know that number? Do you know what you should focus on? And don't use these pie in the sky, stupid numbers. Well, if you're getting a 12% rate of return, then you have to always save this. Don't use, be very critical on the rate of return. When a financial guy or a gal says, we're going to get you a nice rate of return of 12 to 15%. This happened to me in the 80s when the market was screaming, and the 90s. And I remember people coming in, Scott, when the market's screaming, if you can't get me 12 to 15%, I can do it myself. And they were right in that small window of opportunity.
Yeah.
And time. The question is, let's not use fake numbers, because we don't have a fake retirement when you get to the retirement age you want to get to. Are you using realistic numbers? I'm not going to tell you what it is out there, guys, but I can tell you, use realistic numbers. If you call me at our studios, I'll talk to you about it. But the second thing is, of course, want versus needs. This is the biggest problem when you say, I want to go on that fancy trip. I can tell you, I've had a clients came in, Scott, we've got over $200,000 saved, and we have $1,500 of Social Security for my wife. My Social Security is $2,000 a month, and we only need $5,000 to live on. Okay, well, that means you need $1,500. How do you plan on making that up? So what does $1,500 mean to you? What does your number mean to you? And I talk about this, and I use the rule of 4 to keep real simple. And I'm going to give it real easy to you guys. If you take the rule of 4 and I need $1,500 to get me my $5,000 like the client, well, $1,500 times 12 is $18,000. So I need to make $18,000 a year for the rest of my life. Well, if I use the rule of 4, I simply divide it by the rule of 4. That means I need $450,000 in my nest egg by age, let's say 65, all right, when I turn on my Social Security, or for those of you, 67, whatever that number is. But now we have to add one more factor in called, well, that's inflation. So let's throw that number in, and that's the number we focus on. Now we can buy that fancy new car with the wonderful smelling seats and the leather. Or we can buy that nice boat. Or maybe we can put the pool in the backyard. But the mindset needs to be, but we need, honey, to put away $341 a month to get to our number. That's what Scotty said, or that's what our financial advisor said. These are numbers, but let's make them more fun, because finance is not fun. And most of you listening to me, you probably don't like numbers. Most people don't like numbers, except you win the lottery. Then you get the right numbers you like. That's probably the only time you like numbers. But cultivate the mindset of saving. Understand if it's $325 a month you need to save. Honey, can we buy that boat? Yes. We are on target. How great would that feel, knowing you're on target and you're going to buy that boat or that pool that your kids are screaming for, or maybe the college fund you need to save for? Alex, make finances fun, even though they're not fun all the times. Pursue the passions you want in retirement. Cultivate a social connection. What are we going to do when we retire? What does it look like? And then I think of those older people that are in retirement right now. the volunteer give back. There's an organization I'm strongly love. It's called Star Poverty right here in Barnegat, New Jersey, where they're only focused to how do I get people food? And they need volunteers. Listen to me right now. If you can offer time to Star Poverty right here in Barnegat, New Jersey, please call me. Please call me right now so I can get you the information on Starve, STARV, poverty. They do a wonderful job. This nonprofit, I know the people. I know the money is very fiscally sound. 609-488-4646. I am a big supporter of theirs. I can tell you the work they do for people that are not as privileged as you listening to me. They want to help. If you want to volunteer, do a give back. 609-488-4646. And then you can think about your travel. Where do you want to explore? Not knowing that you've touched your finances are in order, your social calendar is in order, your give back is in order, you're volunteering, helping people. There's nothing worse than staying in your house and doing nothing versus getting out and helping others. This is my biggest ploy when I see people pursuing retirement. Well, here's the more other areas other than money. What are the other areas psychologically, emotionally you need to pay attention to? And I think that's really important when it comes to financial planning, Alex, not just numbers.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And I know a lot of people listening right now as we're talking about Gen Xers and baby boomers. And one thing that they share is that they may be a part of that sandwich generation where they're right in between. Maybe they're taking care of parents and they're taking kids at the same time. And Scott, this can have a huge impact on your finances, can have a huge impact on planning for your own well-being in the future. And how does maybe someone address this?
Sandwich generation. I heard that. It was kind of funny. And you think about taking care of your mom and dad, like my meeting just a while ago, helping your mom and dad. Or maybe you meet a Generation Xer and they're 50 years old, got a couple kids. Maybe their kids are 20, 23. Then you got the grandmom and grandpa, 70s and 80s. How does that look? And then all of a sudden you find out you have to take care of mom and dad, and you're juggling all sorts of emotional things, taking care of your mom and dad, taking care of your young kids, and all of a sudden the grandbabies start popping out, or your children are having struggles. I don't know if this is answering your question when you think about it, Alex, but the Generation Xers versus the boomers, this sandwich generation, the financial responsibilities may not seem much to you now, but when it sneaks up on you and your dad has a heart attack, your mom gets MS, your children get a divorce and they don't have any money, it sneaks up on everybody. It affects more than just one person. This is an emotional and financial question, Alex. And this is a big thing that people aren't paying attention, let alone the medication, the expense they're paying for healthcare.
Yeah.
And so this is really important, Alex.
Well, and I think the big thing is, Scott, is that you can plan, but life is going to happen.
Yes, for sure.
It's going to happen, and you've seen it happen, and people know this already in their own lives. They know that they've planned, and then, well, I didn't know I'd get married at 20 and divorced at 30, or I didn't know that, like you said, my parent was going to get sick or whatever. And so, it is important to plan, and then you also have to plan for the unexpected, which I know that sounds impossible, but there are
really
things you can put in place to do that, right, Scott? In the last
Alex,
couple minutes we have.
this is funny. Just a lovely client. They have a significant amount of money. Husband and wife, great. They've been with us many, many years as financial clients. We've guided them through the legal and taxes. Let me give you a situation. This may be you out there. Listen, they're close. They have a beautiful son, a beautiful daughter. The daughter went through a terrible divorce. She has 2 children, and now she's getting remarried, and she will be inheriting significant money when mom and dad pass away. I know that. I know the whole family. Here's the question. When I asked the father today, if your daughter dies before you do, and then the money goes to the estate, does the money go to the grandchildren? He goes, well, Scott, you did my estate. I said, I know. But what does her will say? What if she dies after you? She inherits the money, then she dies. Does her new husband get the money, and the money goes to her children and to his children? Does she have that in her will? Has the financial advisor paid attention to the will of your children, the will, power of attorney, living will? You see, when you pass money on, we can help our clients grow money, Alex. The question is, what happens if they pass on? Should we have that, I call it the come to Jesus meeting, come down to earth and find out, by the way, kids, I'm not trying to weasel my life into you becoming your financial advisor, but mom and dad want to make sure that you're buttoned up nice and tight, that in the event mom and dad dies, that your money goes to you and your portion of the money goes to the blood, not to the new husband or the new husband's children if they have children before they get married. I see this time and time again. People are not paying attention to the legal aspects, let alone where does the money go and do they have enough money, Alex? This is another snag in the three blind mice scenario. 609-488-4646. By the way, guys, that's my website, 609-488-4646. That's the phone number. And it's also 609-488-4646.com. You can't forget it. Why? Because we're here for you to help you answer your questions and concerns. No cost, no time is the best time right now.
Financial Insanity with Scott McLean continues in just a moment.
Who likes uncertainty? Wall Street certainly does not. With near record inflation and partisan politics, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. What will America's future look like? What will your future look like? Will your taxes go up? Will your savings go down? For more than 40 years here in the Jersey Shore area, Scott McLean and the team at McLean Advisory Group have seen uncertainty come and go. No matter what the future holds, Scott can help you create a plan designed to preserve your finances in uncertain times. And it's not a matter of if those uncertain times will show up, but when. Call 609-488-4646 now to meet with Scott McLean and the team at McLean Advisory Group. If uncertainty is causing you to feel insecure, Scott McLean might be able to help. Call 609-488-4646 and schedule your visit today. Again, that's 609-488-4646. Investment advice is offered through Bell Point Asset Management, LLC. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
It seems like nowadays everybody just goes to that cell phone, puts in the address, and then just stares at it, and it tells you exactly where to go. But I remember not that long ago traveling with my dad across the country, and he literally would pull out the map. Big old map. He'd roll through that thing. We'd be circling highways and making marks with pen, and we would get there, and it would be a lot of fun. Alex Dingman here, along with Scott McLean, McLean Advisory Group, Financial Insanity. And maybe that sounds insane to some people nowadays, Scott, to be actually using a physical map instead of just that cell phone. But we're going to talk about that retirement roadmap today. And Scott, special guest with us. Exciting here. We have an advisor who works along with you and has been in the financial industry since 2009. George Costanis is with us as well. George, thank you so much for joining us today to talk about this roadmap.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate being here.
Absolutely. And Scott, what kind of a traveler are you? Are you just using that cell phone now and just, really brainless about the whole activity at this point?
I am brainless. My wife and daughter always make fun of me because, Dad, why don't you remember where you're going? You're going to get Alzheimer's. You got to stop doing that, Dad. Quit using the Waze app. I said, well, it's very easy for me. And you couldn't have brought it up better, Alex, talking about using a map. I remember using a map myself when I went to Florida to college in Nyack, and the map's flipping upside down. It's blowing in the breeze. It's all over the map, and you make a wrong turn, you have to recalibrate everything you're doing again, and then you lose time, lose effort, lose energy. Then you're starting to maybe say some four-letter words you never said before, and you get upset. So, but again, by the time, like you said, a good fun retirement or a good fun road trip comes with bumps in the roads, maybe flat tire or getting lost, and there's nothing worse than getting lost. So, Alex, thanks for sharing us the Waze app. Many people are out there using the Waze app. Today, I wanted to talk about, Alex. You asked about a very important thing, which is why I brought George in as an advisor at our firm for such a long time. I call it the McWays, the retirement McWays. You know the Ways app? We'll call it McLean Ways, the McWays, because retirement comes with a lot of challenges. I got a phone call this morning, and he said, Scotty, a guy named Ken goes to our church. He says, Scott, I just can't fill out this form to get my taxes reduced. And I said, Ken, why didn't you call us? That's, you're a tax client of ours. He said, well, I just did it myself. And how many people do things themselves, Alex? They try to do things themselves. And they end up dorking it up,
Yeah.
freaking out.
Sometimes it's hard to ask for help.
Later.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I called the McWays. When it comes to retirement, how can we not flip the map upside down, get detoured, tire flat? Because with retirement, it comes with a lot of decisions.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to hear George as well. First, that phone number, if something resonates with you, if you need help with your roadmap, 609-488-4646, 609-488-4646. And George, I know this is a great resource for folks, retirement roadmap. And talk to me a little bit about the idea here, because I know it's the kind of thing that's personal for each person that you would see that, needs help finding that direction.
Oh, sure, absolutely. And when you're going on vacation and you have a roadmap, I mean, it sure is fun sometimes getting lost or sidetracked, as some of the things Scott pointed out. But when it comes to retiring and having that retirement roadmap, it is no fun getting lost or falling into a ditch. So that's kind of the idea behind the retirement roadmap. You don't want to get lost. You don't want to fall in a ditch. You're only going to do this once.
Absolutely. And that's where you guys can step in. Scott McLean, George Costanis with McLean Advisory Group, really helping guide people through retirement, because you said it right there. You can, hey, have some detours when you're just having a nice leisure drive, but when it comes to retirement, you want to have that planning ahead of time. You know exactly where you're going. And that's where you guys can really step in to say, all right, here's the turns that need to be made. Here's the detour. Here's where there might be a construction zone, that kind of thing, so that you do not have those surprises.
Absolutely. And reducing stress, burning yourself out, having concerns, not knowing what you don't know, that's super important. So having a roadmap in front of you that outlines some of the biggest or greatest pitfalls or road bumps, then absolutely helpful.
I think it's also helpful, Alex, when your spouse, maybe it's the husband that does the planning or the wife does the planning. The challenge if you're listening to me right now and perhaps you're doing all the planning, but what if you get detoured, sick, disabled, Alzheimer, dementia, your wheels fall off, you go see Jesus? One of those areas are gonna possibly happen, and you're leaving your spouse to the unknown, and she doesn't know how to read the map. Perhaps she needs someone, or he needs someone, to help navigate this retirement, because retirement should be the golden years, but I hear a lot of times it's the rusty years. And if you don't have a retirement game plan or a map, it could get you totally off your game. So important to have that roadmap, as George said, because it's psychological. Do I retire? When do I retire? And they're always asking me, since I'm an old bat, I love what I do. The problem is, what are you going to do psychologically first, so you don't burn out and be stressed out, and then all of a sudden left hooks come, Alex?
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's always good to make a checklist before you travel. What are some things that we need to be thinking about when it comes to this retirement roadmap? And we want to plan this out. We want to make sure that we can get there and have enough finances to make it through what we hope is to be a very long retirement. But what are some things we have to think about before
I'm going to have George go through that, Alex, real quick, because this is critical. And if you're out there listening, I'd like to get this in your hands, even though we're trying to make this journey fun. If you get sidetracked, at least you can lean on those people like ourselves who can guide you through it. So this map George is going to give you, we're going to go over to another segment, Alex. We're going to drill down deeper. But I guess I want to have George, when we look at people, when you talk to people on a weekly basis, you probably see 5-10 people a week minimum on top of service servicing clients, what are the biggest things people are failing, they shouldn't fail on, they need to get in their hands to plan the retirement?
There's something definitely out there called impact bias, which sometimes when something first happens to you, it seems bigger than it really is. So I personally think it's super critical to chunk this out and take smaller steps at it. And step one is definitely to take a good inventory of what you have first. And then also where you want to be. So step one, definitely take an inventory, everything you have. This could be pension statement, 401ks, social security statement, bank statements, a list of expenses. What do you want your retirement to look like? What's it going to cost? Take that inventory first. Absolutely critical. And then we can move on to the next steps.
When you take this inventory, Alex, when we meet with people, it's almost they bring one or two things with them, not everything. And I think they don't understand that you need a real good picture. You need the entire roadmap. Well, this is not the roadmap. This is putting the roadmap together. And by putting it together, just like George said, your pension statements, your 401k, your IRA, your social security statements, we cannot play wing it. This is not a wing it. This is no do-over. And hopefully if we have to try to, if you're in retirement right now and you need some guidance, or maybe you're saying, am I going to run out of money, which is the number one discussion I hear so often. Am I going to run out of money? What's going to happen? Well, we need to, again, dive deeper. We've met so many people, Alex, who've come to our office and they didn't work with us. And that's fine because we don't force people. We don't really try to beg or bug them, but we want to guide them. And so when they finally come back and they need someone to walk them through this psychological nightmare. Am I going to run out of money? Is my spouse okay? Are my children okay? Can I leave something to them? These are the questions we're getting, Alex.
Yeah. And Scott, George, we just have a couple minutes left, but in those couple minutes, how can people get help with this retirement roadmap? What is that first step?
Well, first of all, is when do I want to retire? Do I want to retire? But the most important, who can I speak to ask about retirement? Who can I trust and feel? Which is why when people visit with us, Alex, just give our studios a call, 609-488-4646. Visit with us, 609-488-4646. Ask for Bonnie. They can meet with George. They can meet with myself. Both of us highly qualified. But what I'm trying to tell you is when you understand when you're going to retire or think about retiring, these dates will change. You get nervous. You're not sure. Alex, I'd like to offer anyone who would like, no cost, no begging, no bugging. If you want a game plan, we're here for you. Come in. Let's have a discussion to see if we can benefit those of you who are making this huge decision, whether you're in retirement or about to go in retirement. Don't do this alone. Let's have a discussion. Why would you deny yourself the ability to get with someone who's done this for years? Give me a call off the air, 609-488-4646. Let me see if I can help you, guide you through this many journeys in your retirement. Start getting a plan together. Get this map laid out, Alex.
And talk to me a little bit here quickly about the benefit of having this roadmap. What does that do for folks to come in and fill this information out and really be able to have a better grasp on the future?
What a great question. Personally, I think the biggest part is that most people retire once and they've never been through it. They don't know what the pitfalls are. They don't know what they don't know. Having this retirement roadmap is basically all the things that we have seen, all the issues that have come through, and it really puts together a lot of things that you possibly don't know that you don't even know that are headed at you in retirement. And it does a good job of covering some of those unknowns.
All right. Thank you, George. And again, that number, 609-488-4646. That number again, 609-488-4646. Just add a .com for the website. This is Financial Insanity. I'm Alex Dingman alongside today Scott McLean and also George Costanis with McLean Advisory Group.
This radio program may contain information which has gone regulatory or other significant changes since its original recording. The information and views expressed on today's show is educational in nature and is not intended to be a recommendation for any specific investment, product, strategy, plan, tax, or legal advice. Information presented is believed to be factual and up to date, but we do not guarantee its accuracy. Investment advisory services offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC, a SEC-registered investment advisory firm. McLean Advisory Group and Sound Income Strategies, LLC, are not associated entities.
This radio show is a paid placement.
Who likes uncertainty? Wall Street certainly does not. With near record inflation and partisan politics, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. What will America's future look like? What will your future look like? Will your taxes go up? Will your savings go down? For more than 40 years here in the Jersey Shore area, Scott McLean and the team at McLean Advisory Group have seen uncertainty come and go. No matter what the future holds, Scott can help you create a plan designed to preserve your finances in uncertain times. And it's not a matter of if those uncertain times will show up, but when. Call 609-488-4646 now to meet with Scott McLean and the team at McLean Advisory Group. If uncertainty is causing you to feel insecure, Scott McLean might be able to help. Call 609-488-4646 and schedule your visit today. Again, that's 609-488-4646. Investment advice is offered through Bell Point Asset Management, LLC. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.